And this opens up kind of a floodgate, kind of a whole new process that we have available to us now that is pretty darn cool. And so let's kind of go through the purpose, or basically exactly like kind of how this came to be. So let me jump in here. We're going to go down. And so basically what we have gotten available to us through our demand-side platform that we use is a new data source that we haven't really had, or that hasn't really been available to us before. And that is B2B specific information. Owners of businesses, types of businesses, all those types of things. And it's brought to us by LinkedIn and Bizzle, who are the largest B2B companies in the world. And they basically, LinkedIn bought Bizzle a couple of years ago for like $270-some million. And it's a really good connection because Bizzle had their company strategically aligned to do B2B type business on a display platform, and LinkedIn wanted that display platform on theirs. And so basically it's very much like Google a long time ago when Google was really good at pay-per-click, and they said, we want to get into the display stuff too. And so we don't want to build it from scratch. Let's just go buy somebody. So they went out there, and who did they find? You guys knew who they found? Go ahead and type in there if you know who Google bought for display advertising. Once I say it, you'll go, oh yeah. Double click. There you go, John, you won. Herb, you're right behind him. So basically, DoubleClick is who Google bought to fill that role because they knew that these guys had it down. They had a great business, and they had about a 20% market share, right? And so they bought them, and it's easier to kind of bring it into the company that way by buying and acquiring a company rather than building it yourself. Time to market is crucial. And so that's what LinkedIn did with Bizzle. Bizzle had it down. They were just crushing it on the B2B area. And so just recently, LinkedIn and Bizzle, they want to make more money. Shocker. And so what they did is they said, we have the greatest data in the world for B2B. What if we made this data available so you could retarget, or that you could, target through the display advertising these same people? Because we know that there's more people out there that market that aren't necessarily going to market on LinkedIn itself. And so what they've done is they've made their data available so that we can go out and we can target all over the internet these types of people, this audience. And so basically, you don't have to be on LinkedIn to be able to see these ads. You could be on CNN, you could be on Fox News, you could be on WebMD, you could be on Trilio or on Zillow. Any of those types of addresses, or I'm sorry, websites, you could be on, and these business owners would see your ad. Okay, so that being said, let's talk a little bit more in depth about what kind of data this is, because I'm thinking that you're thinking, well, what does this mean to me? So basically, these are some of the categories that we have available to us. I'm going to dive into some of these right here, but these are the basic types of categories that you have available to you. And altogether for B2B, you have 397 million records in here, 397 million types of companies and people and CEOs and partners and all kinds of stuff that you can target. We'll go into that in just a second. But that's a whole lot. And look at the very bottom there. 42 million small businesses. So I don't know how many of you guys out there do marketing for small businesses, but you just gained 42 million, viewers out there that you might be able to target. And so with this B2B targeting, Mike was asking, is this display, retargeting, or both? Well, it's really geared towards display, because if you think about it, retargeting is once they land on your website once, then you retarget them all around. So it's really not made for retargeting. It's made for the initial contact, and then you bring that initial contact in and then follow them all around with retargeting. But it's a good question. So it's just for display, so that you can get them, so you can go out there and reach out to these businesses for the first time that don't know you exist. And Justin, you're saying, yeah, that's huge, and yeah, this is huge. It's super huge. And we've actually been delaying a couple of your projects a little bit so that we can jump on this and be able to utilize this. And it gives us it gives us some really interesting stuff that we can do for you guys now. And so Scott is asking, can these be geo-targeted as well? And absolutely. So basically, if you're looking for veterinarians, all the veterinarians in a certain city or in a certain state, you can absolutely do that. Or if you want a certain type of a lawyer, like I want all the bankruptcy lawyers in New York, boom, we can do that for you. And so we can combine these. Excuse me, I've got this weird frog in my throat. I apologize. But basically, we can target these with all of the other things combined with this. So it could be hypermobile. It could be we could do different countries or different cities or states or anything like that. So this is pretty cool because especially if you've been marketing on LinkedIn, it's a great platform, but it's limited just like Facebook is limited. Facebook is awesome too, but it's Facebook. It's not the whole rest of the web. So what this does is it opens up the LinkedIn platform to the whole rest of the world. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, that being said, as phenomenal as it is, it's new. So I need to kind of tell you guys, kind of a word of the warning, that this type of stuff is we haven't tested it a lot. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. Now we know where it comes from. It's coming from LinkedIn. It's coming from Bizzle. So we know that that's pretty good. It's very good. But we haven't tested it yet. So we just need to kind of put out that warning like, okay, we haven't really done it a lot ourselves yet. We haven't done it with a lot of customers, so we're going to start doing it, and we'll report as time goes on. But if you want to jump in, we don't have stats and figures and all that kind of stuff to see how good it is. So take this with a grain of salt, knowing that you're with the rest of us, kind of like trying this out to see if it'll work. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm pretty excited about it. I think you are too. So I think it's worth a test. Now, one thing that you need to know as well is that this data costs, just like everything else that you buy from a third party, the third-party data that you use to kind of like find the right people. This is costing somewhere between $1.50 and about $3.50 per 1,000 impressions. So it's not terrible, but it's still something that you need to factor in if you're going to be doing this. So just be aware that there's that cost that's going to be on top of your normal ad spend. So for instance, if you wanted to do this, the ad spend is going to be, I don't know, let's say $1.50 or $2 or something like that, just for winning the bids, right? Then you would just add this right on top of it, and that would be somewhere between another $1.50 and $3.50. So total, it may be as much as $5 per 1,000. But if you think about it, if you're targeting businesses, what's that worth? Kind of small price to pay. That's kind of how I see it. So you just have to factor that into your finances and in your marketing, just to kind of know it could cost as much as $5 CPM as you're going out there marketing. Okay. All right. Let's see here. We are recording this, so if you guys want to come back later and look at these, because I'm going to go through these fairly quickly, the different categories right here, so that you can kind of get a glimpse into what you have available to you. Now, for the most part, we don't show you a lot of the categories for the audiences, as far as like all that stuff, for two reasons. One of them is because there's a whole lot of them. There's like thousands of them, and so basically what we want you guys to do is just say, hey, this is kind of the general audience we want, and then we go into all that detail and all the craziness. And we pick out all the best ones for you so that you don't have to. So we kind of protect you from all that granular stuff. And so, we ask you to just kind of trust us that like we know all the best places out there and we put them in there and make it work for you. And so this is a little bit different though. So what we are going to do is we're going to take all of these and we're going to put them in a list so that you know what's available, because this is a little bit different. There's different ways that you can strategize as far as like what type of business, and we'll go through this and you'll see what I mean. There's lots of different things that you may not have really thought about before that you can target. And so let's see here. It's Scott was asking a question, which I think is relevant. This is going to come up sooner or later. And he's basically saying, does the business or person have to be on LinkedIn or Bizzle as an additional source? I'm not sure I heard you correctly. So everybody that's on here is in LinkedIn. Let's just start there. So that's where they get their information, right, is from their own platform. And so they've either marketed on LinkedIn or they have their own profile on LinkedIn and stuff like that. So it's first-party data for them that they sell to us as third-party data. Okay? I don't know where the second comes in. Skip the second somewhere. Anyway, that's what we call it as third-party data. And so this basically, they have to be on LinkedIn to be able to see it. So it's a good question. All right, now let's go through some of these categories because I think that you're going to be really interested to see. And so basically what I'm going to do right here, by the way, is I'm going to open up each of these little areas right here for you so you can see what it looks like and what's available to you in there. I'm not going to open up all of them because there's a whole bunch, but I'll kind of tell you generally what's in there. But what we'll do is we'll provide like a PDF or something like that that lists all of them so you can kind of look through and see, okay, I want veterinarians, and you can know that that's available to you. Okay, so the first one is classes. Now, if you want to target blue-collar workers, we have 22 million of those online, and so you can target those with maybe a business opportunity, that kind of a thing. Or if you want to target white-collar workers, you can do that as well. So that's kind of an interesting breakdown. Wouldn't you agree? So that's a couple that are available to you right there. The next one is the company age. Is the company been around for 2 to 5 years, 6 to 10? Less than 2 years, which is interesting because these are kind of startups, right? Or more than 10 years? Are they a very mature company? And so, so basically, is those are all different categories of types of business that you may want to tackle based on how mature they are as a company. Okay, and so the next one is the company size. So, are you trying to target small businesses, 10 to 50 employees? Well, there's 34 million of them out there. Are you trying to target, somebody who's a mid-sized company, somewhere between 100 and 500 companies, or 1,000 to 5,000? So these are really important stats right here that you can use to look at that. The highest number is under 10 employees right here, which is, of course, most businesses, right? And so basically it depends on what kind of business that you want to target. Do you want to target, the smallest businesses? If you want to kind of go a little bit bigger where they may have larger budgets, that kind of thing. Not that these that have 10 employees have small budgets all the time, because there's many companies that I know of that are in the, $5 to $50 million range that have 10 employees or less. So it doesn't always fit, but generally these are the ones that have the smaller budgets. Okay. So that's very interesting right there for the company size. Here's the next one, which is employment status. So these are the people themselves, not necessarily the businesses, right? So the people on LinkedIn, are they employed? Are they employed part-time? Are they self-employed, which is interesting, right? Do they work from home? Another very interesting one. Are they a homemaker? Are they a job seeker? Are they retired? So those are all super important categories that you may want to target for certain products or services for that type of a thing. All right? So those are available to you as well. Let's take a look at the next one, which is groups. Now here is a really interesting points of data right here, a set of data. Basically, are they decision makers? And you can see right here, it's inset right here. So these decision makers include all of this right here. So are these finance decision makers? Are they IT? Are they sales and marketing? Or are they small business decision makers? These are all super important because this small business decision maker may be a great client for you to market your local business marketing, including this, right? And then also, are they high income group? So are these individuals high income? I don't know what high income means. I would just say they make more than most all of us, kind of a thing, right? So that's kind of what I would kind of picture as high income. All right, so categories, industries and occupations. I'm not going to dive too deep in this. I'll show you one of these, but basically here's all the major categories right here. And there's a lot of them, so I'm going to go through all these and I'll dive into one of them. But we'll give you a full list later. So there's agriculture and natural sciences, arts and entertainment, media, business and grounds maintenance, so landscaping type stuff, finance type things, business, community and social services, computer and math, construction and architecture. These would be like roofers and things like that. Education, government. Let's go through a few more. After government, we would have healthcare. Hospitality under healthcare, that's where you're going to find all of your dentists and chiropractors and stuff like that, right? Hospitality, legal, Under legal, you're going to find all of your different types of lawyers. Office administration, personal computer, or consumer services. Production, sales, science, sports, telecommunications. Let's keep going on a few more. Transportation and utilities. So let's dive into one of them real quick here. So here's personal and consumer services. So there's 15 million businesses in here. Under animal care would be things like vets and pet grooming type of companies, right? And so we can see that there's automotive repair, there's child care, fitness, funeral services. Under personal care, I believe those are like hairstylists, like hair salons and those types of things with personal care. And so here's all different types of things right here that you may be able to target, really specifically. Like if you're targeting, say, automotive repair, well, you have almost 3 million automotive repair places out there that you can target. And fitness and weight management, another one for those who are into exercise and sports fitness and things like that, right? All right, so these are the different categories, and we'll create a list for you with all the other ones and dive deep into them so that you know. All right, now here's another one right here, which is called roles. Now, what kind of a role does a person play in a company? Now, maybe that's important to you. Are you looking for C-level executives? Are you looking for presidents or vice presidents? People who are at the top making top-level decisions, perhaps. And are they a business owner, or are they a board member? Are they a frontline manager, or are they middle managers, or are they partners? And so they may be a partner in a business. So there's 403,000 people that have basically said, I'm a partner in some type of business. Okay, so you can kind of see who the entrepreneurs are and who the business owners are, things like that. So this is kind of interesting as well. Now the next one is the sales volume. Here's another thing that's pretty interesting. So while the types of companies may be interesting, or the different types of sizes of employees, like the number of employees a company has, may be interesting. But this is another determining factor on how big a company is. So if you say, well, if a company is making, say, 100 million to 500 million, they're way too big for me, right? Because you may not be comfortable playing in that big executive type of environment with a lot of C-level people, big budgets, and lots of scrutiny into their marketing, things like that. So you may not feel comfortable playing there, but you can say, you know what? I'm comfortable between 5 million and 10 million, or 1 million and 5 million, something like that. And so you can just start breaking it down right there, and you can say, okay, I want all businesses that are in the 10 to 25 million range because they're making money. They can afford $2,000, $5,000 a month for marketing. I want those guys. So that's a really good one right there, where you can start targeting these types of companies for the type of marketing budgets that they would have. All right. Let's see here. The last one is our favorite right here, which is, again, small businesses. And so this may be a good one just to say, you know what, I want to market my local business agency to all the small businesses in my town. Because if somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'm kind of interested, I can get in my car and go right over to them in 10 minutes and introduce myself. Because, as we all know, face-to-face business closes deals. When it's on the phone, when it's through the computer and stuff, you can do it, but there's nothing like face-to-face because there's a real person behind it, and there's credibility and also accountability when they know where you work, kind of thing, right? And they know that you're right in the area, so you can spend a little bit more time with them. So it's a cool thing that you can do. So these are incredible opportunities to be able to go out there and take advantage of. So my suggestion is let's go try it out. Let's go get them, right? We don't have to spend a lot of money to see if it's going to be working. So there's a couple of questions in here I want to tackle in here. Mike was asking, do we know if these are their LinkedIn profiles, if they're business or personal or whatever? I'm sure it's a combination of both. I don't know. I honestly don't know where they get the data from. The next one is, Richard was asking, how do you approach an industrial injection plastic molder? I don't know. We can look in the list and see if they're out there, but I don't know how you would get that specific. There's certain audiences that you're just not going to be able to do very well. But we can dive into it. Once we start seeing if you have very like this, Richard. What we need to do is we need to sit down together. So just hit me up on on help@trafficoxygen.com, and let's set up an appointment where we can sit down and dive in and see if there might be something that really fits that pretty well. All right. Yeah, Patrick is saying this is very nice. Much of my background is in B2B, so this is super exciting to see. Thank you. Yeah, we're pretty excited too. Thomas was asking, will the list be on your system or theirs? I'm not sure what you mean, but I'll tell you it's going to be in the training and resources area. And so you'll see a list of those. On the right side where it has all the documents and stuff, it'll be in there. So you can look for it there. Let's see here. I have 3 companies in mind: commercial cleaning, large office buildings. Let me see, what's the other one? Commercial landscaping, not residential, but commercial, and industrial packaging companies. So yeah, again, Patrick, this is something we'll probably need to dive into and take a look at specifically. Just because we haven't done a whole lot of this yet, so I can be just completely transparent and say I don't know. But let's dig into it and see what we can find in here. Mike is asking, what about employees of XYZ company, like engineers at Boeing? I don't think it dives into that as far as like what companies and their employees. I didn't see any of that in the data as I was kind of going through and kind of learning about it myself. I didn't see like employees of X company, anything like that. So I don't think it's that specific. I think it's more like if you want to target like middle management, or if you want to target employees or C-level people, that kind of thing's more generic. How do we get list counts? Herb, you're going to have to ask that a different way because I'm not sure what you mean by list counts. Let me go back a little bit. I think I might know what you mean, but let me jump on. Hey, Todd, you on with us?
Yes, I am. I didn't want to interrupt
All right.
you. You were on a roll when I came on, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Was I ranting?
No, good roll.
Okay. These list counts right here, I think, are what you're talking about, and they'll be on the list that we create for you. So if it's something different than that, ask it a different way so that I can understand maybe what other different type of list you might be talking about. So, like I said before, this opens up a whole new area of focus that we can focus on, especially with our own companies, to be able to market ourselves. I know Justin has been out there, eagerly chomping at the bit to get started with his own marketing. He's done a lot of super cool stuff. Justin's the one who did the video stuff, remember, Justin, a couple weeks ago? And so Justin's really been doing some stuff there to go out and promote himself, and so this is perfect timing for him. So this is fantastic. So, all right. Anything else that you want to add to this, Todd? I've covered a couple of things as far as like where we get the data, how much it costs. I covered the fact that we're new at this, and so we don't know, how the data is going to perform and things like that.
Yeah, no, I heard all that. I think that's all great, and that just, I would test it with your own agency, and then just be very cautious. I know there's some people that Chris and I have talked to that are out there selling CPMs. I wouldn't definitely not do it on B2B. You have no idea that if the cost of the data is $3 and you think the CPM is going to be $2 to win it. Remember, people are trying to get in front of these people a lot. You might be paying $10 CPM to get in front of them with everything all in. So I would definitely do ad spend plus a management fee and let people know. We're testing this out. We're trying this because a lot of business owners aren't online too, right? I mean, like I heard you say someone was asking about these engineers of whatever. I mean, how many of those people exist, and how many of those people are online, and how many of those people, you got to worry about that needle in the haystack problem as well. So even though it says 20 million,
for sure,
right? Are all those people really online, or is that just people that have registered with LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's a good point. So you want to go with the bigger numbers for the statistics. So statistically speaking, you should be able to reach a percentage of them. So if it's a small number, you're still going to get that probably same percentage. It's just going to be a much smaller number. So aim bigger if you can. One thing I was thinking of is I was talking with a data buyer from a large corporation where they do lots of buying of data, and they also do lots of selling of data. to other companies too, because they're a first-party aggregator. So basically, they aggregate all their data and then sell it off to different companies. And they were telling me that they sell their B2B data at I think it was like $20 to $25 CPM, something like that, just to let you know how valuable it is. Now, I'm not suggesting that's how much you would charge somebody, but I'm just telling you that's how much they charge somebody for their B2B data. So just to kind of put it in perspective. All right, so let's see, is there any other questions in here? Let's go ahead and field some general questions now. Yeah, and you know, Thomas was saying, yeah, it only makes sense to cut our teeth with our own B2B marketing first. And, yeah, let's build our own businesses first, right? Is there a minimum budget for this? And would you recommend structuring the test by limiting the geography to the state to start out with? I'm thinking targeting restaurant owners. Yeah, you know, I would definitely start in a smaller location so that it's tight. I would start around you so that you can be in kind of a closer vicinity to them, so that you're in the same town, because I think it adds a lot of, I don't know, personal. It's a personal touch when you're in the same city in the same area as them, because you kind of know what their marketing should be a little bit better if you live there. So I would definitely start close to home and then work out. And you know, the budget's the same thing as before. Knowing that it's going to cost more, you should probably add a little bit more to the budget. But you know, the minimums are the same as before for you know, $300 per month for a done for you type process.
Right, but I mean, definitely, if you come in with $300 and you get $10 CPM, right, you're not getting many impressions. So
yeah.
Just know, when Chris and I are doing this, we're thinking we might have to spend $10 CPM, right? That's just the number. Just like we tell you guys between 2 and 4 when you're doing B2C, think 10 and then ask for the budget based on that. If they want to reach 100,000 impressions or 500,000 impressions, multiply that by 10 for the CPMs, divided by 1,000, of course, and then that's the budget I would tell them. Because as Patrick mentions here, all of these clients typically only need 1 or 2 clients per quarter, maybe less, for sure, right? As long as you set that expectation, right? Because click-through rates will probably be less, right? Conversions will probably be less, but when they do convert, they might be a $10,000 client, right? So it's all about expectation setting for sure.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. These are different types of people. These are people who are busy just like you guys are. They're distracted in lots of ways and things like that. So more than ever, retargeting is going to be important for this group, because they may show interest and then boom, they have to go after a meeting, or they forgot that they're late for this or that, or they have to do this. The TPS report has to have a cover letter on it, or whatever it happens to be. So basically, the retargeting is going to be crucial for these types of people. So this is such a great combination. Justin was asking a good question too. He says, how would you compare this to marketing on Facebook, LinkedIn, and why choose this over the others? So let's just start with LinkedIn and Facebook marketing and just say it's awesome. But it's also very limited, because how much time do you spend on LinkedIn when you're on there? Now, it's a great setup, and so I spend a little bit of time on LinkedIn, but not much. I mean, a very, very small fraction of my time is on LinkedIn, and even less is on Facebook, to be honest. On a personal level, Facebook is amazing and scary to me, and I'll tell you why. It's amazing because they're the coolest videos ever on there. Would you agree? And because of that, it's scary because I'll find myself watching those videos for like an hour and wasting like a whole hour watching these stupid cat videos and stuff like that, right? So it's scary to me because I got better things to do than watch cat videos, which are super funny. So so I try to stay off of it as much as I can, honestly. A lot of people aren't interested in Facebook. A lot of people are, and so it's a great place, but it's not the only place. It's kind of like a subsection of the internet, which is awesome, but it's still a subsection. And so this allows us to reach out to the whole rest of the internet for those same people. So we don't limit ourselves to just a certain platform to be able to get their eyeballs. We can open it up to the whole rest of the web. So, with it being said that, marketing on those platforms is very good, and we highly recommend it, it's still only a subset of the internet. So this is how you reach out to the whole rest of the internet to reach the same people. So that's why it's so incredible. Let's see here. Can we target nonprofits with this? I'm pretty sure you can. I think there's a whole section in there for nonprofits. So we can definitely look at that. Let's see here. Is there a new section on the site? And is it only the DFY service for now? Yes. So this is only the DFY service because this is, if you think about it, the other service is just retargeting. So this is just display advertising with retargeting to bring it back, right? So the focus on this is the display. So this would really be limited to just the DFY service or the right, the very right button where we do all that for you. So I can't imagine spending less than $300 a month on this anyway. I mean, that would be like, going to the store and buying a stick of gum kind of thing, instead of buying a bag of groceries or something like that, okay? So, $300 is with the cost being like, $5 to $7, per thousand, it's going to go pretty quickly. So you don't want to spend less than that. Okay. Do we have any statistics or CPM and actual click-through rates? Nope, Thomas, I'm telling you, we haven't done hardly any of this stuff. So we're just barely getting started, so we have no statistics whatsoever. So as soon as we have them, we'll put them out there.
He added not B2B on there. So you're talking, in general, it's between 0.07% and 0.1% for cold traffic click-through rate. Nothing on conversions. Never talk about conversions. Conversions have nothing to do with display. They have all to do with the website. And then retargeting is around 1% because it's warm traffic. So warm traffic, 1%. We always say 0.1% for cold traffic, but new stats are coming out with mobile. It's actually dropping. So there's a lot of mobile impressions out there that don't get clicked on. So I think it's like 0.07 now is what the last report I read on that. But conversions, that's why I don't sell conversions, because it's each client is, some people will say I convert at 3%, and then with display it might be 1%, or I can 3% and I do 5%. So conversions is 100% on the product, website, on the client, unless you control that whole thing.
Right. So Herb was asking a good question on segmenting the data. So for instance, if we go through here, and let me know if this answers your question, Herb, because I think I know what you're asking. I'm going to go back a couple of different slides real quick. I'm going to go back to this one right here, automotive repair. So we can see that there's 3 million companies out there, or 3 million people who said they're in automotive repair. And so with that being said, if you do automotive repair and you say, I only want automotive repair in Denver, Colorado, then that is going to go down substantially. It's going to be like 600 kind of a thing, right? So it's not going to be 3 million, it's going to be the 600. So every time that you add segmenting on top of it, whether it's location-based, whether it's other types of audience factors, like I only want all the male automotive repair or only the female automotive repair people, it's every time that you add a layer to it, it's going to substantially cut down what that number is. So you have to be careful on how specific you want to be, because you can specific yourself to death and not get any impressions, or very, very few. And so you want to stay a little bit more general on that. Is that kind of what you're asking, or as far as like when you're segmenting, as far as how many people will actually be targeted?
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking. And guys, that's one of the reasons that we only do this done for you as well, right? Because when we rolled it out initially, people were just adding layers and layers and layers. Those are the things that we watch for. And that's why we always start very broad, and then we narrow it down. Or we start very narrow, and then we have to broaden it out. You're not going to know. This isn't Facebook where they says, hey, we know this many people are online right now because they're logged in. Right? This is the entire internet, right? So a lot of this data, even though it's coming from credible sources, those people could have left those companies. It could be their kid on the computer, right? There's just no way to know for sure that is the exact person at that exact time. So those numbers, you just have to, what I've always done is, if it's a big number, you have to start dividing it out when you go into smaller cities. On anything, whether you're targeting any kind of third-party audience data.
Yep.
And then also think about how big that industry is in your area. Like funeral services right there that Chris has, 18,000 people in the entire United States. So if you choose Chicago, you might find two. Would that be worth going after a funeral?
Well, there's a lot of murders there, so probably like 4.
Right. So, but I see a lot of people getting excited in here. Patrick saying I'm super excited. God, I would still, this would be a quiver, an arrow in your, for yourself. B2C is still the easiest thing to sell. It's still the easiest thing to get impressions in front of. This is just another avenue that if you run across these, I personally don't take on B2B clients unless they are paying me a lot of money because of this reason, right? Because it's not going to be, oh, how come I didn't get 14 conversions yesterday? That's not how this is going to work, right? You got to plan these guys out. I would sell these on 6-month agreements to 12-month agreements for these people to say this is going to be a long-term thing. If they want to test it out, you better do 3 months, but you better charge a lot because they might leave, right? This is just another set of data. It's like you're going to Facebook with them, right? Would you sell your services to Facebook to say, hey, I can target this industry to yeah, you can, but are they going to click on your ad? Are they too busy? We have so many things like Chris mentioned. I don't spend any time on Facebook. I go to Facebook to do my ads. That's it. I've never once clicked on an ad in Facebook. Not once. I barely even look at them.
You haven't seen the videos there, dude?
I cannot.
The videos are awesome on Facebook.
I know, but I cannot spend 2 seconds on there because, like you said, it is a slippery slope. My wife's like, "Hey, check out this video." I'm like, I'll walk over and say, "Okay, great, time to go back to work."
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Or 3 hours later.
And that's a good point, Todd. Like Patrick is just saying right here, he says, my Dallas commercial landscaping client got one online lead from Houston and ended up gaining a chain of 270 restaurants as a client. That's huge. So, if that didn't happen in the first month, do you think that your service isn't valuable? That's just craziness. What if it came in the 3rd or even the 6th month of a 6-month contract? Would 270 restaurants as a client be worth waiting 6 months for? I think so. Because we don't charge them that much. You know what I mean? What if we charged them $3,000 a month for 6 months? Is it worth $18,000 to get 270 restaurants as a client? I think so. I think they'll probably make that up in 1 or 2 months, kind of a thing. So it's definitely, I like that you brought that up, Todd. It's a really good point as far as being a long-term play and making sure you lock them in for a little bit longer because it's a much harder deal.
And most of those people most B2B good businesses have Salesforce, and there's a reason they have that. They don't go run TV commercials because that's blasting, right? They don't, and I'm not saying that they don't all do this, right? But if you position that it's going to be very similar, again, like we've always said, it's like TV, radio, and billboards, right? You're putting things out there. It's all in how you position it. If you go to them and say, I'm going to get you 15 leads, you can sign your execution papers right there because you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't talk about clicks because you might not get clicks. Business people might be a little bit more sophisticated, right? Chris said this is kind of new, uncharted territory. I don't click on ads unless I want to see where they went, right? For my own, because I'm a marketer, right? But most business people are a little more sophisticated. They know they don't have to click on an ad. They know they can go up and just Google that company's name and get to their website. Like I don't click on ads because I know it's going to cost people money, right? If I see a Google ad, even when I search something, I don't click on the top 3 because as a business owner, I don't want people clicking on mine if they know my company, right? I want them to go find me in the list that's free, not the one that's going to cost me $2. So there's reasons for a click-through rate, and those are things we'll kind of flush out as we get going. But there's still a lot of business to be out there for the B2C ones, which might actually be easier to hit. But there are some B2B companies that might be good. But if you have a question on them, before you go sell them something, shoot a question into the help desk and say, hey, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Right, because that one with the, I can't remember what they were even asking with about the engineering thing. I would probably say no. I wouldn't even go after
Real
that.
Specific.
Right, like landscaping and restaurants and if nonprofits are in there, hey, those are humongous categories.
Yeah, awesome. Lots to choose from.
Right, but you say, hey, I want people that work at Boeing. There might be a couple hundred in the whole people that in the whole United States that are online. So anyway,
another good question that was out there, Ron was asking, are there limitations on text in the display ads? And I think you might be referring to on Facebook where you can only have 20% of the the ad itself be text. You don't have those limitations, but a good rule of design on those is that you should have big fat text that's easy to read, like a haiku. You know what I mean? Like it says, like three words, 4 words, and then 3 words. I think that's what haiku is, something like that. But something that's like simple, easy to read, get your message across in just a couple of words, if possible. So that even though you don't have a limitation, you should probably, for good design and marketing purposes, keep it succinct, and because you just want to draw their attention for the click, kind of a thing. But in some cases, that's not always appropriate, so you just need to use your best judgment. Okay.
Mike's asking a question here because the CPM is so much higher. Is there more of an argument to use PPC with a higher click-through rate for B2B? Yeah, that's something you'd have to test. Say, it's kind of always that balancing act. If you go to somebody and say, I can get you if they're running PPC, they're going to think, how much is it going to cost per click? That's not the play that display should be doing. All right, that's why we really push you guys to go sell retargeting first. Everybody needs retargeting. Display is not for every single company. Just like Facebook is not for every single company. Just like LinkedIn, is not for every single company. So if they're killing it on PPC, just tell them to add in retargeting. Oh, I'm already doing Google retargeting. Great. Let me go everywhere else that Google's not. Right? To follow up on those clicks that are costing you $1, $2, $3, it still adds up. Right? Even though if they're not at $50 or $20 a click, even $2 or $3, if they get a lot of clicks a day, that's they could be spending several $100s a day on PPC easy, and with a 2% conversion rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patrick was saying that his experience for B2B and PPC is even more challenging than this. And he says he would advise against it unless proven that the B2B niche is responsive, kind of a thing. So B2B on any platform, I don't care what it is proven to be very expensive over time because you're targeting super specific people. And even though the ad markup on this or the third-party data cost on this is like, maybe as much as $3 or $3.50. In my mind, I'm thinking that is a steal to be in front of companies. I mean, absolute just rock bottom steal compared to the pay-per-click costs on those types of things. Because some of those PPC costs, and Patrick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they can easily be in the $30 to $50 range, and you would pay them all day long because that's just kind of what they are. And so for that, you could target like 3,000 of those same people. Kind of thing. So, you just gotta have to take it in perspective and test and try and to see if that market is going to be responsive or not. So we'll be doing the same thing. All right. Any more questions as far as like the B2B is concerned, or just anything in general? Like, do you have any clients that you're working with or plan to be working with that you just had some questions on or just want to chat about a little bit? Put them in here. Thomas was saying that they do B2B direct marketing with funnels and FID offers and tripwires and all that kind of stuff. But frankly, he says what works best is the good old phone. So I agree. I mean, even what works better than that is a face-to-face. But you can't always do that, especially if you're going nationwide. But phone sales and face-to-face sales are what closes. What hopefully you can do is get their interest to pick up the phone and give you a call or set an appointment with you even better, where you can present, like we were working with a company the other day, and basically right on their landing page was a book a time with us, and it had like a calendar right there that they could click on, and they could just like book it like right there on the landing page, which I thought was really good for their customer base. It doesn't work with all customers, but for what they were doing, it was like perfect for them. Right. All right, so we're getting towards the top of the hour, so I'm thinking maybe it's time to close this up and give you guys some time back. So, Todd, any last minute comments that you were kind of thinking of, or you think that might be pertinent to this?
No, I'd say just keep rocking. If you run across a B2B, find out what else they're doing, maybe offer that to them. But don't unless you're in the B2B market, which some of you guys sound like you already do marketing. could be a great additive to other things that you're already doing, right?
Yep.
I think marketing's all adding and stacking services on top of each other. So still the best foot in
Yeah,
the
there's
door.
no silver bullet.
Yeah, still
Yeah,
the
for sure.
best foot in the door is retargeting for any business. Um, and then, yeah, you can add these things in, but yeah, there's a ton of business out there. Go get it and send in tickets to help at trafficoxygen.com.
Absolutely. All right, that's it for me too. Thanks for everything. This is a great introduction to the B2B stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about this more from time to time. And if you have any questions as this starts to roll around in your head and you sleep on it and you can't sleep tonight, sorry for you guys who are so excited you're not going to be able to sleep. But if you do have like ideas or things that come up, please reach out to us on help@trafficoxygen.com, and we would love to talk to you more about it. And with that, have a great week and go crush it. Anything else, Todd?
Nope. Thanks for putting that together, Chris.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for your time, and we'll see you soon. Same time and same place next week. Talk soon.